I just did the basic song, 5% inspiration and then 95% work really at it, because I'm such a lazy.
Amid the dim stage lights, as the melody of Nights in White Satin drifts through the air and that warm, aching voice begins to sing, the audience seems to hold its breath. The man with silver hair and a guitar nestled close to his chest doesn't need to rile up the crowd. One sustained note is enough to make time stand still. That man is Justin Hayward, the legendary voice, the poetic heart of the Moody Blues, and one of the most quietly iconic musicians of the 20th century. He wasn't loud like MC Jagger, eccentric like David Bowie, or flamboyant like Freddie Mercury. Hayward chose instead to craft inner symphonies where sadness turned beautiful and love was sung in music that transcended the boundaries of traditional rock. From Swindon, a small industrial town in England, to the top of global charts, Justin never lost what made him unique. A soul both tender and bruised, yet proudly living through melody. His life never featured headline-grabbing scandals or tabloid-shaking controversies. But beneath that calm surface lies a profound loneliness, quiet traumas, and a grief that lingered for decades. From a 17-year-old boy carrying a cheap guitar into London to the moment he stood alone on stage bidding farewell to his final bandmate, his journey wasn't a triumphant rock anthem, but a lyrical epic of loyalty to music and to himself. Justin Hayward is proof that sometimes the greatest artists don't need to shout, they only need to whisper, and the world will still listen. Early life. Justin Hayward was born on October 14, 1946, in Swindon, a small industrial town in Wiltshire, England. His family belonged to the middle class, not impoverished, but far from wealthy. His father was a school teacher with a love for poetry, while his mother was a practical woman who quietly nurtured her son's artistic dreams. In their modest home, where the verses of Wordsworth mingled with the sounds of the BBC radio, Justin grew up with a sensitive, introspective soul, the very essence that would one day fuel the poetic beauty of his music. He wasn't an exceptional child in the eyes of others, but Justin showed early signs of musical talent. At age 9, his parents gave him an acoustic guitar, a small gift that opened up an entire universe in his mind. He taught himself to play by ear, mimicking riffs from Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, and most notably, The Shadows, his idols from Britain's pre-rock era. Though he had no formal training, Justin quickly developed lead guitar skills and began composing melodies by the age of 11, guided purely by instinct and raw emotion. His teenage years were a blend of dreaming, loneliness, and a yearning to escape the limits of his small-town life. At Commonwealth School, he joined student bands, played at local fairs, and performed at charity concerts. But Justin never truly belonged there. He didn't just want to play music. He wanted to live through it, live within it, and let it define who he was. So at 17, while most of his peers were still grappling with exams and university choices, Justin Hayward left Swindon for London alone. In his suitcase were a few sets of clothes, a battered guitar, and a stack of self-recorded demos, the baggage of a young man gambling everything on music. The early years in the capital were grueling, living in cheap rented flats, eating instant noodles, writing songs for hire, singing radio jingles, and playing in East End bars. But Justin never gave up, because deep down he believed that music would save him no matter the cost. And that belief, along with a stroke of luck, led him to a turning point that changed everything. One of his demos found its way into the hands of the Moody Blues, a band searching for new direction after lead singer Denny Lane's departure. No one could have imagined that the shy boy from Swindon would become their new soul and the one to pen the most glorious chapter in their history. Early career. When Justin Hayward arrived in London in the early 1960s, he had nothing but a guitar, a handful of self-recorded demos, and a vague belief that music would open the door to his destiny. He soon signed a management deal with Lonnie Donegan, one of the skiffle stars of the era. But the partnership dissolved quickly due to creative differences. It was an early lesson in the darker side of the music industry. Talent didn't always guarantee being heard. Still, Justin didn't waver. He kept writing songs, recording demo vocals for producers, and occasionally performed with the Wild Three, a small band that never quite broke out beyond local venues. During those years, he learned how to survive in the industry, staying up all night tweaking lyrics, struggling to land even the smallest gigs, singing jingles just to cover rent. But instead of dulling his passion, those rough edges sharpened him into a quiet but unshakable artist. The turning point came in 1966. At the time, the Moody Blues, once famous for their hit Go Now, were in crisis following the departure of lead vocalist Denny Laine. They were searching for a new direction and a new member. Through a mutual friend, Justin sent in a demo tape of his original songs. Among them was Cities, a track with a hazy melody and surreal lyrics, worlds apart from the mainstream music of the time. Mike Pinder, the band's keyboardist, was instantly captivated. Not long after, Justin was invited to audition. With his red ES-335 guitar in hand and a determined look in his eyes, the young musician played one of his own compositions and left the band stunned. They saw more than a singer or guitarist. They saw an artist with soul, someone who could pull the Moody Blues out of the shadows. Shortly afterward, John Lodge, an old friend of Mike's, joined the band as well, completing the now legendary lineup. And just like that, the unknown boy from Swindon officially became a member of the Moody Blues, marking the beginning of a musical journey that would change not only his life, but the very shape of 1960s rock. Career success. The first recording to feature Justin was Fly Me High, a light psych-pop-infused track characteristic of that early period. Though not a major commercial hit, it signaled a new artistic direction for the Moody Blues, one marked by intellect, emotion, and surrealism, a style Justin Hayward would soon embody completely. From that moment on, there was no doubt Justin was not just a lead guitarist or vocalist. He was the spark that reignited the Moody Blues, lifting them out of their slump and into a creative renaissance unlike anything the band or the genre had seen before. Just 1 year after Justin Hayward joined the Moody Blues, the band entered a bold new era, poetic, visionary, and entirely distinct from their contemporaries. The revolutionary leap came with Days of Future Past, 1967, an album that fused modern rock with a full classical orchestra. At a time when most bands were immersed in blues, R&B, or the anti-war movement, Justin Hayward brought forth a dreamy, introspective, and surreal musical world. Nights in White Satin, written when he was just 19, was placed at the album's conclusion and became a timeless classic. With its sweeping mellotron, lyrical romanticism, and emotionally charged vocals, the song became a global hit and a symbol of a musical age shaped by philosophy and the longing to transcend reality. That success paved the way for a series of now iconic albums. In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968, a spiritual exploration of cosmic wonder and questions of identity. On the Threshold of a Dream, 1969, where Justin shone through with Lovely to See You and mesmerizing harmonies. To Our Children's Children's Children, 1969, a poignant futuristic vision for humanity, a question of balance. 1970, political, existential, and a shift in their approach to storytelling. Each of these albums stood as a musical manifesto for a generation torn between dreams and disillusionment. And at the heart of that journey was Justin Hayward, providing the words, the melodies, and the emotional soul of the Moody Blues. Never flamboyant, never loud. Every song he wrote felt like a letter whispered into the hidden corners of the listener's heart. By the early 1970s, following the release of their seventh album Seventh Sudden, 1972, the Moody Blues abruptly went on hiatus. After nearly a decade of relentless creativity, all members, including Justin, were spiritually drained. We no longer knew what direction we were headed, he once admitted. During this period, Justin teamed up with John Lodge to release Blue Jays, 1975, a melancholic yet romantic symphony regarded as one of his finest works. Tracks like Remember Me, My Friend, and Maybe continued to showcase his signature lyrical intimacy and nostalgic tone. It was also during this time that Justin recorded the haunting ballad Forever Autumn for Jeff Wayne's The War of the Worlds, 1978. With its themes of lost love, Justin's voice became an irreplaceable part of the project, and the song soared into the UK Top 5, marking a powerful solo milestone outside the Moody Blues. In 1978, The Moody Blues reunited and released Octave. While the glory days had faded, the band maintained artistic integrity, particularly under Justin's quiet leadership. The 1980s saw a resurgence of their music on the radio with hits like The Voice, 1981, and Your Wildest Dreams, 1986, both penned by Hayward. Though musical trends evolved, Justin never chased the market. His songwriting remained an emotional journal, subtle, reflective, and untouched by commercial compromise. Together with the Moody Blues, he toured relentlessly across North America, Europe, Australia, bringing his timeless sound to millions across generations. In 2018, Justin Hayward and the Moody Blues were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a well-earned recognition for a musical legacy spanning half a century. But only a few years later, with the passing of drummer Graham Edge in 2021, the Moody Blues quietly came to an end, closing a legendary chapter more than 50 years in the making. Justin, the last man standing, didn't announce a farewell, nor did he host a grand tribute. He simply kept going, guitar in hand, carrying a suitcase full of memories. Personal life. On stage, Justin Hayward is the voice behind timeless ballads that move audiences to tears. Off stage, however, he has chosen a life so private, so quiet that is almost invisible. In more than 50 years of artistry, he has never been embroiled in a public love scandal, nor has his personal life ever been dissected by tabloids like many of his contemporaries. But that doesn't mean his life has been smooth. In 1970, at the age of 24, Justin married Marie Hayward, a woman outside the entertainment industry. They lived together in a secluded woodland home in West Sussex, far removed from the noise of fame. In one of his rare interviews about personal matters, Justin once said Marie was someone who understood silence and accepted a husband who always lived in his inner world. The couple had one daughter, Dorham Hayward, a name echoing musical destiny. Dorham would go on to become a graphic designer, contributing album artwork and visual designs for her father's tours. Their bond has remained close and steadfast, one of the few emotional anchors in Justin's otherwise quietly burdened life. However, since the early 2000s, Marie has been notably absent from Justin's musical events and public appearances. Those close to the family have quietly revealed that the two had separated, a decision in keeping with Justin's nature. No drama, no spectacle, just a gentle stepping back when the harmony fades. He has never confirmed anything publicly, but in recent interviews, his voice has faltered when mentioning things that can't be held onto. Now in his later years, Justin lives alone, frequently moving between his home and concert tours, carrying with him his guitar, a few books, and a silence no one truly sees. Losses in his personal life haven't been limited to his marriage. Ray Thomas, his longtime bandmate and dear friend from the earliest days of the Moody Blues, passed away in 2018 from prostate cancer. 3 years later, drummer Graham Edge, the last remaining original member besides Justin, also died at age 80. Justin, now the only one left on stage, once said, "When we perform, I still look to the right where Graham used to sit. Even though he's not there anymore, I keep the rhythm as if I'm playing with him one more time." The names that once stood beside him in shaping music history have slowly disappeared, leaving Justin Hayward to face solitude, quietly yet still unwavering in his devotion to music. No drunken meltdowns, no chaotic affairs, no scandals. And yet he remains a soul etched with fractures for whom music is the only way to piece the broken parts back together. Legacy and influence. When people talk about icons of British rock from the 1960s and 70s, names like John Lennon, David Bowie, or MC Jagger usually come to mind. Figures who shook the world with rebellious imagery and bold declarations. But Justin Hayward, armed with a red ES-335 guitar and a voice that whispered like midnight, chose a different path. Slow, quiet, yet so deep and enduring that it became irreplaceable. As the principal songwriter and lead vocalist of the Moody Blues for over 5 decades, Justin left behind a musical legacy that bears an unmistakable imprint. Songs like Nights in White Satin, Tuesday Afternoon, Question, The Voice, and I Know You're Out There Somewhere weren't just hits. They were epics of consciousness, time, and lost love sung in the language of poetry and framed by symphonic arrangements. Thanks to these contributions, the Moody Blues, with Hayward at their core, are considered pioneers of progressive rock. They paved the way for musical experimentation that fused classical, electronic, and philosophical elements, inspiring later icons like Pink Floyd, Genesis, Yes, and Radiohead. Steven Wilson, a leading figure in modern prog rock, once remarked, "No one writes a beautiful, sad melody quite like Justin Hayward." Though he's never been loud in the media, Justin's legacy runs deep in popular culture. Nights in White Satin has been featured in dozens of films and TV series from The Big Chill to A Bronx Tale and Mad Men. In 2018, he and the Moody Blues were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a long overdue but well-deserved recognition. In 2022, Justin was appointed an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, for his lasting contributions to music and British culture. More than a musician, he is a guardian of romanticism in an increasingly utilitarian world. As the music industry became digitized, short-term, and driven by algorithms, Justin remained faithful to his deeply personal songwriting, lyrical, introspective, and humane. Every ballad he wrote felt like a sealed journal entry, one that opened just enough for the listener to feel, to understand. What's striking is that despite his enormous influence, Justin never sought validation through fame or power. He turned down numerous commercial offers, rarely appeared on television, and has no personal social media presence. In a world where artists thrive on likes and followers, he continues to live by the one thing that truly matters: sincere music, unpolished, unpretentious, and never out of style. Current life. At over 75 years old, while many of his peers have retired or live off the glow of past glories, Justin Hayward remains present, not on grand stages, but in intimate, warmly lit concert halls where he stands alone with his guitar, softly whispering the melodies that once enchanted the world. After the Moody Blues officially ceased activity in 2021 following the passing of drummer Graham Edge, Justin made no farewell statement, held no lavish tribute. Instead, he quietly transitioned into a fully independent artist, continuing to write, perform, and tour as if time had never passed. In 2024, he launched the Blue World Tour, performing across North American cities like New York, New Jersey, and Florida. These shows felt personal and heartfelt, where he revived ballads etched into the listener's memory: Forever Autumn, Tuesday Afternoon, and of course, Nights in White Satin. Sharing the stage were longtime collaborators like guitarist Mike Dawes and keyboardist Julie Ragens, who helped breathe new life into these classic sounds. As 2025 began, Justin expanded the solo tour of the Blue World with 15 major performances across the U.S., marking nearly 60 years of unwavering dedication to music. During his shows, he didn't just sing. He told stories about songs written in lonely American hotel rooms, memories of Ray Thomas, or the moment he watched the sunset over Swindon in 1966 and composed Nights in White Satin in a single afternoon. Offstage, Justin leads a quiet, nature-filled life far from the media. He resides in a woodland home in southern England, where time seems to slow down. No social media, no provocative statements. He connects with fans through handwritten letters, newsletters, and candid behind-the-scenes videos. His daughter, Durham, oversees the design and production aspects of his tours, helping preserve his image as a truly independent artist. Remarkably, at age 78, Justin still writes his own music, plans his tours, selects set lists, and manages his public presence. To him, music is no longer a stage for acclaim. It is a personal ritual, a way to stay connected with the departed, with memories, and with his own identity. In a rare interview, he shared, "I still look to the right side of the stage where Graham used to sit. I don't need anyone to take his place. I just keep the rhythm as if we're still playing together." Though the world has changed around him, Justin Hayward continues to write and sing, not for more fame, but to keep a promise to the music that once saved him time and again. And when he steps onto the stage with his worn guitar, silver hair, and gentle smile, audiences know one thing for certain: Justin never left the music, and the music has never left him. Justin Hayward isn't the kind of artist who makes you laugh, cheer, or shiver with flashy technique. He's the kind who makes you fall silent and then quietly cry with a single lyric. In a world of music that grows louder and more forgettable by the day, he continues to walk a solitary path, writing from the heart, singing through loneliness, and living with unwavering loyalty to emotion. From the teenager who left Swindon with a worn guitar to the last man standing in the Moody Blues, Justin has never truly changed. Still that same guitar, still that same voice. Only now each note he plays carries another layer of memory, another shade of longing, another pause in time. He's never asked for pity, never demanded recognition. And yet, it is precisely that humility that makes him one of the most genuine and revered souls in British music. And perhaps that's why Justin Hayward never needs to say goodbye, because he never truly left the hearts of those who love music. If you've ever lost yourself in nights in White Satin, been hushed by Forever Autumn, or simply needed a place to rest your feelings, tell us what moment in Justin Hayward's music has stayed with you. Where did you first hear him? Which song keeps calling you back after all these years? Share your story in the comments. We want to hear it because timeless songs are made of memories no one can take.